Okay, so we just finished this drawing. If you haven't done so already, I did save the one I started last week already, Andreas Vasilio dash drawing A last week, so that's fine. Just keep with that. If you haven't saved it as yet, just press save. It will come up with a dialog box and it will put the name in there. Just make sure you know where you saved it, and also keep a second copy or third copy as well, so you don't lose it in case something goes wrong. So now I'm going to close this. Just returns me back to the start screen. So I'm going to go back to my Learn site here, and which is just there. So we did this one here. There's another one. So this is the drawing that comes with it. By the way, all of these have a exercise that they come with, and you can use that to start with rather than a blank one. So you just need to download it first, and then because some of them have some components already in there, you can move around and things like that. So this next one shows us how to muck around with object snaps, which we've done a bit already. Endpoint, that sort of thing, is an object snap. Polar tracking, object snap tracking, etc. All right, so there are a little more advanced things, but I will show you a bit of that. Again, I'm not going to open up that thing that's here. I'm going to just use a blank one. So let's use this blank drawing. Yeah, this I'm not even I wasn't where is it? Is it there? Actually, there's no file there, is it? Oh no, the PDF, there it is. Sorry, they've changed this new. This is new. This Learn site, and they leave a whole lot of spaces between things, and it's like, where is it? I expect to see it right under here, and it's like 50 millimeters away. All right, so this is the exercise here. I'm only just going by the heading. I'm not going to follow it step by step because we really it's a short course. So I'll just show you. It's nothing much more than what I'm going to show you anyway. So just in here, feel free to go that, as I said last week, go through it on your own as your practice at home, for example. That would be good if you want as a bigger backup and practice. So I'm going to just draw a couple of lines here to start off with. One line there. I'm going to draw another line here. Now I stop that line by pressing the spacebar or escape. All right. So let's draw a couple of lines here to start off with. And I'm going to draw another line that goes across here. All right, so something like that. And now we already have done a bit of this where I want to begin another line. I just go and hover to near the end of it. See here, I'm just near the end of it, and it will just latch onto it. Easy. It means you don't have to sit there zooming in without the object snap and just trying to get to right to the end before it actually latches on. You just go near enough, and there you go. Now this one here, just sometimes I've got that extension thing in there, and it just senses things. I'll show you how that works. All right, so that's the thing about this is it's accurate, but it is fast because I just go near that line. See, I'm just near the end of it. I'm not in the middle or anything like that. When I get to the middle, yes, it detects the middle. That's that triangle. I just have moved down, went past the midpoint a bit, and click there. Don't have to go to the end. I can just click there, and there I am. Very fast. I can come here. Now the intersection is a bit different because I have to be basically on top of it to find that intersection. So it just, and then the midpoint, for example, is in this case is there. In my case, yours will be different. Right, so that's how that works. That's basically a basic object snaps, and only works with the ones that are already defined in here. Like we put a tick next to them just before. Only works with those. If I had a circle, let's just draw a circle. All right. The circle is here, the third one in, up on the ribbon. Just click it once, go somewhere in the screen, click, let go, move, and click again. Just gives you a circle. Now it's not accurate, but it's a circle. That's all we want. Click on there. Just move in here. Click. Left click. When I say click, I mean left click. And then move to make it bigger and click somewhere. That's not accurate, eh? Because we're just doing a random size. But you can make it accurate. I mean, it's not hard. It's just, if I click on here, I can click again. And then if you read down the bottom here, it says specify radius of circle. And that's half the problem about people learning AutoCAD is that they're not reading down there. So read down there, specify radius. Now, specifying the radius. So I'm not sure what this scale I've got here is, but let's just go 300, my radius. There you go. So it's a 600 diameter, in other words. If I wanted to do a diameter, I will click this, and I'll click where I want to start from, the center, and then I have to specifically, if I wanted, for example, 700 diameter, I have to specifically click on diameter, and then I type in 700. That's if I can't do the maths. If I can't divide 700 by 2 and give it the radius, then I have to do D and then put 700, okay? But that's an easy number for me, so I can go 350, is it? Check. Okay, 350. So that's 700 diameter. Yeah. All right, all good. Actually, I'll show you another thing. Some of these things, and it's appropriate to show you now, because we want to get another chance. It's appropriate to actually, another way of modifying some of these things, especially circles, is this. If I click on this, and then I right click, not on the little square blue thing, but somewhere else on the line, it gives me this thing here. So second to last one is properties. If you click that, it brings up the properties. Now yours might be floating around. If it is floating around, you can pick it up from, let's see, if it's floating around like this, you can pick it up from the left or the right or wherever this vertical thing is, drag it and maybe place it to the left here. When you see that outline, drop it. So you can dock it there, and then it just makes the command shorter, but the command line. Now here, this is if I escape, nothing. It's basically not the properties of the screen. If I click on this, it gives me the properties of the circle. So I can look at this and say, okay, I want to modify that. So it's not 600 diameter, but 800. So you can do it sort of that way as well. You can change some of these things like that. Almost like a bit of a database, a way of changing. All right, so if I click on a line, it gives me something different. With the line, it gives me the start point, that's the coordinates, and the finishing coordinates. So I can change those if you could. Doesn't give me the length, does it? Or it does give me the length, but I don't think I can change it. No, I can't change it. It's grayed out because it's governed by those coordinates. Some things are pretty useless to use with this, but others are handy. All right. Think of these things here. Does anyone know what they're called, those little blue things? What's the proper word for them? What the proper terminology is grips. So it means that if I go there and I click on it, it makes it red, which means the color that makes it hot. So it means it latches onto that, and I actually can move it and it stretches it out. I can make it, just change it a bit. If I click in the middle one, all it does is just moves it by default. If you press spacebar, it cycles through down the bottom here. You can see it was stretched to start with. Now it's move. Again, rotate now, so it can rotate now. Honestly, don't get too hung up about that. I never use it that way. It's it's okay, but it's a bit confusing. It's just some great idea they had a while ago, and I don't think it really took off. But most people just use it to do some basic stuff like this. I can make my circle a bit bigger. It's handy. But... All right, so keep on going with this idea of object snaps and whatever else it was. So the other thing is, if I draw a line now, see these massive lines here, mess and mass. If I go line, if I hang around here for a bit, I didn't click, I just hang around there for a bit, and then I move slowly. It gives me this green dashed line. I don't know if you can see it from there. It's green dashed line, and it just went off course a bit, and it just lost it. don't know, for some reason I can't go any further. I don't know why. Anyway, I'll stop there. It just continues on from there a distance, and it just starts a line from there. It doesn't actually continue on from there. So if I show you, so if I got out this, for example, I might want to start a line at the same angle, and I don't know what the angle is. It tells me there now, but I don't have to know. I want to start from there, about 200 millimeters away. So I just typed in 200 now. Enter. So it began 200 away from that. So it's handy. Otherwise, it's a big deal to try and actually do that without having that little tool turned on. It's a huge deal. You basically have to offset this line, draw another line perpendicular to that line, offset that line up there 200, and then draw a line from the end of that line down here. So and then delete all those lines. So it's a big deal. So get the hang of it. This one here under the object snap here, down here, extension. If that's on, you can do that. So they're little drawing aids basically. I help you along. So the other thing, so give that a go. I'm not going to be rushing this. Just give that a bit of a go. So of course that works with horizontal lines as well, so that's fine. Now, get you to try something else out. I'm not sure what you've got up there. It's a bit of a mess of lines, but for example, you could. All right, so let's just draw something that we can all have similar. All right, so if we just draw a line that goes sort of about that angle, and escape it, and draw another line that goes. Let's see how we're going to do that one. We want to draw maybe one that goes. I want to begin the line. Yes, let's just draw one up here. We can make it horizontal. Now, I'm too lazy to press the F8 key, but the Shift key is very close. So I'm pressing it, and it locks it in to horizontal. If it's already locked into horizontal, it will unlock it. So the Shift key is handy in reversing stuff. So I'm going to hold the Shift key down and click there. So I've drawn a horizontal line. Right. So now let's see if this works. Now what am I trying to do here? That's that one. Yeah. Show snapping reference lines. Yes. All right. So this is called object snap tracking. So next to the object snap, have you got this one here? Has everyone got it? It's if I click on these three lines here, object snap tracking is where? Here. It's that one there. You should have a tick next to that one there. Yeah. If you have, it should be there. It appears next to that one. So if we just turn that on for a minute, it's a bit like the extension, but works with many object snaps. So we'll have a look in a minute. So, well, this extension only works with just 1 point. This one you can give more than 1 point, more than 2 even. So now if I want to draw a line, let's see if that works. I want to draw a line. Now if I hang around there and I move these, I want to draw a line where these two will normally meet without meeting them up myself and changing the size of them. There, and then you leave that, and see how it left behind a little. I've got to be careful where I move now. It leaves behind a little green cross. Then you go here again, and you just move, and leaves another green cross, and you keep going until that happens. Then you click. So now it's drawn the imaginary extension of those two lines where they will meet to a point, and it starts that from there. Handy. Well, I'll show you another one in a minute. Have a go at that first. If you wanted to prove that that's correct where that is, I'll show you another command. All right. Here's a command here we haven't done before. Fillet. This one here. Slowly we're doing stuff. By the end of it, we're going to do it all, but you won't realize. Okay. So we're not really, we're not following a particular system, but we're going to tick it all off in the end. So here we've got fillet. All right, so and behind fillet is chamfer, another one, which I never use. So fillet, you can see here, it does some sort of a radius. We don't want a radius, we want just a sharp point. So what it would do if I click fillet, and you can do that, click fillet. Now, what you got to check down here in your command line, and I've given you 3 or 4 lines of to read. There's a thing called radius here. See the radius here? It should say 0. All right. So although fillet is designed to, make a radius at the corner, like if you had a bench top and you want to crash into the sharp corner, you make a little round thing. Yeah, that's the radius. Yeah. So this one here is 0, which means it'll make a sharp corner. But that's what we want to do. So what it actually wants, it says select first object. Click this one. It doesn't matter which one you pick first. Then you pick this one. And you can see it takes it to that where they would have met otherwise if we didn't have this tool. Right? Now that I didn't, if you want to do that, it just changes the size of your line. So the reason we use the tool is because we didn't want to do this. If you wanted to do this, then that's fine. It's easy. You just go do that, then draw that line from the end of that. But that tool is previously was to show you how to do it without having to do this. But now I'm just showing you how to use the fillet command to prove that that was correct. And yours should be coming to that point there as well. Otherwise, you haven't done it right. Something might have gone wrong. Yeah. If I zoom in as much as I want to, it should be accurate. Oh. All right. So you might say, okay, fillet, that's great. But what if I do want to put a radius there? How do I do it? All right. Let's finish that off. So we've got fillet, and we'll go click down here. There's a radius option in the command line. You click that, or you type in R, enter for radius, and you put in what the radius is. Now, it's hard to know because we haven't got a sense of scale here, how big things are. But let's just have a guess at about 150 maybe. Let's go 150. I don't know. Yours might be too big for you. Depends how small those lines are. Let's see. 150 might work for me. If I click on this one here and this one here, it puts that in there. Right, so it's a radius of 150. So you might have not noticed, or he did, because the lines were smaller. And what it did, it brought them to a point. So he made the lines longer. If the lines are already too long, it'll bring them back. So if I just undo this, for example, and if I just stretch this out, and I'll use the shift key to go horizontally, and I stretch this out, and it doesn't matter really, I'll just go up here. So now they're longer. If I go fillet radius, and I just typed in F spacebar with my thumb, F spacebar, enter, it's fast, right? Then R spacebar, enter. So I never clicked anything, so that's why you didn't see anything. And now I'm going to type in 150. Enter again. Golden rule. There. So it also brings them back. So it sort of trims them as well. And sometimes it will extend them if they're too small. All right. Now have a look what will happen if I did something else. So when fillet radius 150, because I did undo, I have to put that information in again. And I click this one and this one, look what happens, eh? So you've got to be careful. Basically with the radius, with the fillet, you click on the bits you want to keep. And then it just erases the rest of them. So if I then clicked on this one, it'll put a radius of 150 on these two here. Look at that. See? The preview. Yeah. So depends what you want to achieve as to which bits you want to keep, and you click on those. All right. Have I got the fillet? You'll notice that radius is actually a separate little, like an arc. Yeah. Okay, so now that we've got that programmed in to be a radius 150, that's fixed now. So I can go here back to fillet now, and it will tell me down here that my radius is set to 50, not 0 that I started off with. 150, sorry. So I can go and do more. I can go and do this one and this one, for example. There it is. Now, what if you want to do a whole lot of those? It's a bit annoying to have to go back and press fillet every time. So this is what you do. Once you set your radius, you go back to fillet. Your radius is set. Just type it. Just click on multiple or enter. It's an option down the bottom there. Now I can just go off and keep doing this until I finish. See that? Easy. Once you've got it set up, go multiple, and many commands have that multiple option. Just have to look for it. When it comes up, go for it. So that's that. Now, really, we didn't start off to show you fillet, but it just came up. So I'll show you something else, which is if I show you here what we are talking about. This is about object snaps. It's about pollet tracking, and it's about object snap tracking. We haven't done what we've done. Pollet tracking, I think. Pollet tracking, this one here, which is next to the ortho one, the one we did at the beginning. So we click on this restrict cursor to specified angles. It's off. Click it on. Right. So by default, if I go line now, I'm not sure mine might be different to yours. Let's just check what the default is. There's a little down arrow next to it. Click that. Right there. The default is got a tick on the top option. Is yours the same? On the 90. Yeah. All right. So that's how it comes in off the box. So if I click here and I go here, now I can rubber band, which is this thing here. But when I hit the 90 or the 0, a multiple of 90, 0 in this instance, it gives me this extension green line, which means it's almost, well, it is exactly like using ortho on. If I got that there, I can actually type in something, say 100, 100 is just more probably in my angle, but 1,000 maybe, and it goes off. There go 1,000. That's 1,000 long. And here the same up, I can go 500. And zoom. Oh, maybe I bring 5,000. Sorry, I put 5,000. Sorry. All right. So and then like that. Now that's great, but you say, why do you have a tool that does, the same as the other one, basically, just horizontal and vertical? It's a bit useless, right? But as you might have seen before, when I went here, it doesn't just do that. You can do 45s, multiple 45s, 30s, 23s even. What is it, 23? That's weird. 18, 15 is good. 10, 5, right? Or you can go to settings. I suppose you can put your own in there. Yeah, but that's what it's got by default, right? So if you're doing, I don't usually change it, but you can. If you're doing something that requires multiples of 15s, so if you're doing 15s, 30s, and 45s, you must want to start off with 15. So let's start off with 15 and see. So if I go 15, I go line. So now you see that if I just start off with the horizontal one there, if I go up, it says 15. In fact, on my little cursor there up there, you can see it says 15. If I go up a bit more, it says 30. Right? So this is a good way of drawing. If you wanted to draw something at the angle of 30, instead of typing in at 2,000 millimeters at the angle of 30, you can use it like we were using the horizontal one before and just type in 2,000. I'm heading that direction. Type in 2,000. Done. That's why it's not coming up the top there, because I haven't got my dynamic input on. So if I go over here, let's see what happens. And now I'm heading this direction here, which is at the angle of 150, and I can just put in 2,000 again. There it is, at that direction, and it's multiples of 15 in this case. So that's handy if you're doing a project that requires those sort of angles. All right. So that basically covers the three things that this thing is talking about. Then we move on to move, copy, and stretch. Yeah, something else I've forgotten about the fillet command is this. If I fillet, if I have two lines that are parallel, so I just draw something horizontal like this. Okay, there. All right, so I can just measure that distance, and then I know the endpoints are not quite right, but 1200 millimeters or so. All right, so I'm going to go fillet half a radius, and I'm putting something small. It's 150 at the moment. That's fine. I'll keep that there and there. See what happened? It disregards what you got in the radius option, and just puts that. It just draws a semicircle around any parallel line or lines, right? So yeah, fillet radius. Let's put in say 6,000, which is ridiculously big. Still does the same thing. Okay, so that's what the other thing the fillet does. You can put little semicircles at the end of your lines. Right. All right. So move, copy, and stretch. All right, move, copy are quite easy to demonstrate here. Stretch is a little harder to get, but we'll have a go at that. All right. Now I'm using this in an abstract form. So if I move and copy, okay, so we've got some things on your screen already. Circles are good. Now, we talked about snapping, but we didn't talk about how to snap on circles, okay? So let's go back a step. Have a look what you've got here. Now, let me show you. If we want to draw a line from the quadrant of a circle, if I click on this circle, you can see where the quadrants are, where those blue dots are. There's 4 of those, and there's a center snap as well. So, if I was to draw a line, I want to catch it from that quadrant there. I've got a line, and I go here. Now, nothing's coming up because in my permanent settings of the object snaps here, I did not specify that I want to hook onto the quadrant. Has it got a tick next to it? And I did not specify that I want to hook onto the center either, in my case. So there's nothing I can snap onto here, 0. Having said that, is that the end of the world? Of course, it never is the end of the world with AutoCAD, never is. So there's a way around it. You can actually, in the middle of the command, oops, wrong one, set them, which is what most people do. But I don't, because normally I don't play around with circles. It's just like a one-off. And the more of those you have on there, next time you want to try and find the intersection of this, for example, here, it'll be searching through all of them to find it slows you down a bit, especially the bigger the drawing, the slower it gets. So I just keep only the ones I really need. So if I was doing, on the other hand, a lot of circles, I'll get rid of the midpoint and endpoint and just put the quadrant and center on there. All right, so just juggle it. So, but if I just one off, I want to pick it up from there. I'll go Shift key, right mouse click. Try again. Okay, line, Shift key down, holding it down, and then you press the right mouse key once, and then let go of everything. Then it gives you this menu. Now this menu for escape, it comes up even if I haven't got a command active, all right? But it does nothing. So if I was to pick up the quadrant now, it doesn't do anything. See down the bottom of my command line here, it says unknown command, because they're not actually commands. They're actually subcommands. They're only alive within another command. When the one is active, they work. If you've got something active, they'll work, like drawing a line, for example. So watch this. Line, shift, right click, I pick up quadrant, and this is what you might think of as a disposable cup, for example. So they're disposable commands. They're not permanently there. You use them once, throw away. I know, but for the environment. But it doesn't do that much damage here, which is good. So let's go quadrant, and just go there, and it will just click on every quadrant. Okay, so just pick one, pick this one, and you can draw a line from there, wherever. So if I want to go to the center next, it's not there. Shift right click, center, and I go in the center and it finds it. If I can't quite work out where the center is, the better other approach, and it's the approach you always had, is go to the circumference. The approach you always had years ago before AutoCAD became smarter and you could just go there. So you just click on the circumference and it goes to the center anyway. All right, so that's it. So that's, but now if I want to go back, there's no way, there's nothing there. There's no quadrant, right? There's other things, but the other things are coming up because I've got these other things on, these things here, the object snap tracking, and it's trying to sort of work out where I am so you can then do the things we were doing before and just try and find something for me to do, but it's not what I want to do. So those things that we turned on before are best to not be used when you got your training wheels on, because it can be confusing having all these things pop up on the screen. But I just showed you how they work. So for now, we'll just turn them off so we have a clean screen. Just turn off the object snap reference lines. And now we're only left with probably, oh yeah, and this one here, which is the polar tracking. Yeah, we'll finish with that. Now, as you can see, I've got a cleaner screen. I go here, and it's only finding the things that I've got turned on permanently. Okay. So, as I said, shift right click. Now, the other thing with these things here, if you read their names, endpoint, midpoint, you can actually type in MID for midpoint, enter, and it'll go to it. So you can do it by typing if you're that keen. All right. If you can't work out the shift right click, or you can type in QUA for quadrant, CEN for center. But always enter. All right. So have a go at that in getting that sequence of shift right click. Make sure it works for you. Has everyone had a go at that as yet? Anyone not had a go and wants to have a go? Because there's nothing like having a go and trying it out, because looking at me looks pretty easy, but trying it out might not work. Well, so that's that. Where were we? Oh yeah, so it's 8:25, so we'll do a couple of these, I think, and we'll probably leave it at that and just see what's ahead of us. Fillet we've done already. Offset is one of those commands that if you're in the architectural world is the most widely used command, not the line command. Apart from the undo, offset is the next popular one. But if you're a surveyor, you never use offset probably, maybe once in a while, So they have a different set of commands. And as I said at the beginning, I think it was this group, you probably have 20 commands that you use all the time, and your commands with different 20 to someone else in different discipline. All right. All right, so then we've got offset. Chamfer we haven't done, but we've done fillet, and they're very similar. They're like related. Yeah, trim extender are really fun. So that'll be next week. We'll cover a few more of those. Mirror, and then pretty much ready to start something. Yeah, something really better than just abstract. All right. So let's have a go at knocking off a couple of these commands here, which are the copy and move to start with, which I have promptly lost here. All right. Again, there is the procedure here. There is a drawing you can play with. I'm not going to do any of those. I've got enough mess here to play with. So I'm going to show you how to copy a circle, because I've got one. All right. So if you haven't got one, just put one in. So I'm going to pre-select the circle like this. And then what am I going to do next? I want to copy it, right? So what do? I press the copy command. And how do I do that? Well, I've got so many different ways of doing it. I can type in copy enter and type in CO. And I said last week, how do you know what the shortcuts are? It's a first letter, first and second, or first, second, and third, with the exception of the explode command, which is just X. Now, the first letter C will give us a circle, so it won't be copy then. So you've got to try CO. Doesn't work, try COP. All right, easy. All right, so let's go. I know it's CO, so I'm not going to muck around. got CO, enter. And what's the other way I could have got that? Of course, I could have clicked here, copy. Or you could go right click, not over the blue things, all right? Just over the line. Right click, and it gives me copy selection. Be careful. Don't do what most people do and go to the copy clipboard. That's not the one we want. All right. Copy clipboard is okay if you didn't want to copy something accurately from one location to another. I'll show you. So go copy here. That's copy to clipboard. I can right click and clipboard paste. And there it is, just picked it up from somewhere. And now I want to put the center of that circle right on the end of that line. How am I going to do that? Can't do it with that. Can't do it with the clipboard copy, okay? So that's why you need to use the AutoCAD copy. Right click, however, CO, whatever you want to use. Copy selection is what they call it here, all right? Just to differentiate a bit from the clipboard, but it's basically the same as that one up there, copy. So because I said to you, I want to put the center of that circle onto the end of that, all right? So how am I going to do it? Well, first of all, I'm running out of battery. So there we go. We've got power again. So now we can go, so we're going to copy it from the center of that to the end of that. How am I going to do it? All right, so I'll click it. I've got copy this time, just doing it again. Now I want to pick it up from the center. Now remember, I haven't got my center set up, so I need to do the shift key, shift right click, center. So why did I do that? I didn't even read. I mean, why did I even say that? Why did I know that? Yeah, I know that because I've been doing it for 3 decades. But you don't know that, right? So if you read down here, it says here, it's a bit cryptic, but because I did a few shift right clicks and resumes and whatever, it says specify base point. I mean, there's a lot of things that it says down here, but one of it relates to the temporary tracking or something, which is nothing to do with that. Specify base point. Now get used to this base point thing, because it uses it for move, for copy, for rotate, uses it for everything. That's why I like another CAD program. We mentioned it last week, but the Salt Systems, the free one. And that one doesn't, for a rotate command, it doesn't call it base point, it calls it pivot point, which is where you rotate things around the pivot. So that makes more sense. This one here, think of it, I'm copying. Base point means where do you want to pick it up from, basically. Where do you want to grab it from? So I want to grab it from the center of the circle. So did I grab that yet? No. Shift right click, center. So that's the first thing I'm doing. So there's my center. And where do you want to put it? It says here, specify second point. The second point will be right there. You could see that's accurate. And of course, it's giving me more options now. And the next one, I might decide I want to put it in the midpoint of this line, which I can also do, right there, or the intersection of that line, right? But it was important for me to know where I want to put it so I can know where to pick it up from. Right? What am I matching here? I'm matching the center of the circle with the end point, the midpoint, or whatever, right? So, and once you know that, you know move. So that was important to know because geometrically we were positioning it, okay? Geometrically. I want to do a move command as well, just to show you what happens with that. We use the same circle. I'm going to go move. Up here, move. I'm going to shift right click and I'm going to pick up, like I see now, I should have put center there permanently, but anyway, from the center, and I'm going to move it to there. Look what happened. The command finished. With the copy command, I was kept copying and then I pressed escape because it just gives me multiple. The move command, you can only move it once. So you can see the life cycle of that command is not as long as the copy one. Right? It just finishes naturally by itself. So try those two, and then I'm going to show you the same two, but not using geometry on the screen, but by putting in a distance that you want to move in. So we've done moving by geometry, positioning by geometry. Now we're going to position it by distance and bearing, or distance and bearing, that's distance and angle. All right, so So for example, if I want to copy this here, I'll just copy. All right, this I might want to copy this circle from here across here a number. Now your I mean I've got something like what, a few meters here, 3.5 meters. So you have to maybe measure and see what your scale is. But I'm going to move this about a meter from here straight across. How do I do that? I select it, I click move, and where do I pick it up from? And I said to you, it was so important to know where you pick it up from before, didn't I? Actually, it's not important at all this time around, because it doesn't matter where you pick it up from if you're going to type in the amount of distance it's going to move. I'm not physically picking it up from the center and placing it to the end on something. I'm just telling it to move, to copy from where it is across a set amount, in this case 1 meter. So I can basically close my eyes and click anywhere and it won't matter, because I'm moving. See how it's moving now? It's relative to where my crosshair goes. It's moving. So if my crosshair moves a meter across, that will move a meter across as well. So now we have the predicament of, how do we put that in? Do we cheat and put the ortho on and just point that way and put in 1,000 and off it goes? Or do we go the hard way and go at 1,000 angle 0 to head to the 3 o'clock position, right? That's the only decision you're going to make now. Of course, I'm going to take the easy one and go and put my ortho on, and I'm going to head that way, and I'm going to type in 1,000. There it is. Oh, I pressed move, sorry, not copy. All right, move, copy works the same way. So I moved it 1,000. Now I could copy it the same way. Copy. So I've got to copy this time, sorry. Again, I pick up from anywhere. It doesn't, when you're typing in the distance, it doesn't matter where you pick it up from. I can pick it up from the center if I want, but I don't have to. So I'm going to go another 1,000 across. And now if I do it again, I think it goes from the original one, so I have to go 2,000, I think, if I want to do another 1,000 away. Yeah, there you go. 2,000 from the original, then 3,000 if you do another 1,000, all right? Almost heading towards a command called array, which does a whole lot of these things at a set distance apart. We're going to get to that eventually, but array is another command you could use to do, for example, if you're setting out seats for a theater, you could have one seat and you could just array them all across. Makes lots of copies. All right, so that we'll get to that. All right, so for now we're doing copy in this instance. What if I wanted to copy it though from where that is at 45 degrees, 45 degrees at a distance of 2 meters? How do I do that? All right, so if I click this here and I go copy and I pick it up from, doesn't matter again. Again, I'm just putting in a distance and an angle, and I'm going to go at, what did I say? 2 meters, say 2 meters. That's the distance. Angle 45. So it's copied it up. So I escape that. So you can see here now, before we're using that formula to draw a line from, say, here to there, 45 degrees at 2 meters long. All right, 2 meters long at 45 degrees. Now we're using the same formula to copy this thing at 45 direction, or 45 distance, direction of 45 degrees. All right. In a sense of, I suppose, in a sense of eastings and northings and all that, it's sort of a north, or there'll be a northeast direction of 45 degrees. All right. So how often you want to do that? Well, who knows? But it's the building blocks of using CAD. So you just, when you need it. Oh yeah, he said something like this. When I did my CAD course in 1988, they taught me this command called limit, and I never used it in my life thereafter until I was doing my own business, providing CAD support for many companies, and some flagpole company came along. So I want you to make it a user-friendly program which only works within this bounds, and not allowed to draw outside this bounds and all that. And I said, oh yeah, okay. I learned a command called limits, and this is in 2005, that they asked me to do this. 1988, 2005. So, oh yeah, we can use that command. It's the only time I had use for it thereafter. So I'm saying all this stuff, and you might not use half of it for a few decades, but anyway. All right, so that's that. All right, so that's copy and move. Do you have a go at that? I know I'm going a bit fast. I can just stop there because it's getting towards the end. We did copy, move. All right, where do we go left? We did, are we up here? Copy. Oh yeah, copy and move, and the stretch, okay? So stretch, I'll leave it because it really needs you to be fully awake, and nice and important command as well. So we'll leave that there, and I think next week we can do the stretch, and I'll let you have a little practice before we finish, and a few of these others, including we might learn how to do blocks. All right. That's what I like about these classes. People come up with a question and we just do it. All right. Okay, so next week I'll leave it here. I'll pause this, and if there's any questions, I'll come back to it. Otherwise, we'll see you next week.